There have been 11 British winners of the British Grand Prix, and I'm joined by one of them now, John Watson, Silverstone 81. How do you reflect on that day?
Well, it was a great day. It was the first time the McLaren MP4 won, which was the new McLaren era, carbon fibre chassis, won. The difficulty was that Silverstone in those days was a really high-speed circuit. And one of the problems we had was two factory Renaults, two factory Ferraris, very, very quick cars on a very high-speed circuit. So the race started, and I started to make good progress. Caught up behind Alan Jones, who was directly behind Gilles Villeneuve, who, coming through the chicane at Woodcote, spun in the middle of the chicane, cloud of blue smoke. Alan Jones, disorientated, didn't know where the Ferrari was, and eventually I think he bumped into it. I saw what was happening to Villeneuve, to Jones. I managed to stop without getting into contact. So when the smoke cleared and I realised that I hadn't hit Alan Jones or Villeneuve, I'd lost the engine. The engine had stalled when I'd braked so heavily. But I'd still a little bit of momentum, so I managed to lift the clutch, get it back into gear, click on the electric fuel pump, and off it went. So I then had to start the process that I'd already executed of catching and overtaking drivers. I remember Carlos Reutemann in the Williams being very aggressive in his defence, so I stitched him like a kipper. I mean, he was past, I'd been sweet as a nut, loved all that. And then bit by bit made progress. With about 10 laps to go, I passed René Arnoux, and from that point forward it was a matter of just driving to the checkered flag. But then I had to contend with my team boss, Ron Dennis, who was on the pit wall, and I think he thought he was still a mechanic, because he was leaning over going, slow down, slow down. So I went from revving the engine to 10.5 or whatever we did to 10,000, slow down. Every lap I came past. So eventually I was changing gear at 9,000. And it actually made about 0.2 of a second of a lap difference. And we took the checkered flag, and it was clearly massive relief. Part of the other special aspects was my family, my mother and father and sister, were in the grandstand at COP, so they also had a very special day. But maybe the thing that summed up the day for me was there was a track invasion, and I had never been the beneficiary of a track invasion. What they were doing was expressing their thanks, their joy, and they just wanted to say, we love it, we think it's great. And I'm a very fortunate person to win your home Grand Prix, because I think when you win in front of a British crowd, they are the definitive Formula One crowd to race in front of, even maybe more so than the Tifosi, because they're bound up in emotion. This is a racers crowd, and to see them dropping, if you like, that more formal Britishness and just letting go their pleasure and joy, to be the beneficiary of that is just something very special.